In the quiet streets of Millbrook, a small town nestled between rolling hills and forgotten factories, Emily Brown's world was a canvas of struggle and hope. At 16, she carried the weight of her family's survival on her slender shoulders, her eyes reflecting a wisdom far beyond her years. The tiny two-bedroom house on Maple Street told a story of loss and resilience, faded wallpaper, creaky floorboards, and memories of a life before her mother's passing. Tom Brown, Emily's father, sat at the kitchen table, his weathered hands tracing the rim of an empty coffee mug. Once a proud factory worker, he now spent most days searching for work, his confidence chipped away by endless rejection letters and closed doors. Emily watched him silently, understanding the unspoken pain that filled their home. Every morning began the same way. Emily would wake before sunrise, prepare a simple breakfast of toast and tea, and ensure her father had something to eat before she left for her part-time job at Miller's Bakery. The early morning light would catch her determined face, a mix of youth and exhaustion that spoke volumes about her character. At the bakery, Mrs. Miller appreciated Emily's hard work. The young girl moved between ovens and counters with a grace that belied her difficult circumstances. She knew every penny mattered. Her small wages became a lifeline for her family. Groceries, utility bills, and occasional medical supplies for her father. School was both a blessing and a challenge. Millefoy was a bright student, but the weight of her home situation often made it difficult to concentrate. Her teachers noticed her potential, a spark of intelligence that refused to be dimmed by circumstance. Mr. Richards, her mathematics teacher, would often leave extra study materials on her desk, understanding the silent struggle behind her tired eyes. The town of Millbrook was unforgiving to those struggling. Whispers and sideways glances followed Emily and her father. Some spoke of their misfortune with pity, others with a cruel indifference that cut deeper than any physical wound. But Emily remained unbroken. She had learned that strength was not about avoiding pain, but about continuing despite it. Her mother's memory was both a source of pain and inspiration. Sarah Brown had been a beacon of hope, a woman who believed in her daughter's potential even when the world seemed dark. Though she was gone, her spirit lived on in Emily's determination. The photograph on the mantelpiece, a smiling woman with kind eyes, watched over them, a silent guardian of their hopes. Winter was particularly harsh that year. Heating became a luxury, and Emily learned to layer clothes and seal windows with whatever materials they could afford. She would spend evenings helping her father fill out job applications, her small hands guiding his trembling fingers across employment forms. Despite everything, moments of joy were not completely absent. Sometimes, on quiet evenings, they would share stories, laugh about small memories, and find comfort in each other's presence. These moments were precious, a reminder that love could exist even in the most challenging circumstances. The community center occasionally offered support programs, and Emily was always the first to investigate any opportunity. She collected information about scholarships, part-time work, and community resources, with the precision of a strategist planning her escape from financial hardship. Her father noticed her resilience. Though he felt the weight of his inability to provide, he was immensely proud of his daughter. "You have your mother's spirit," he would tell her, his voice a mixture of love and unspoken apology. Emily's world was small but significant. Each day was a battle, each moment a test of her endurance. She understood that survival was not just about physical existence, but about maintaining hope when everything seemed hopeless. Her young heart carried the wisdom of someone who had seen too much, yet remained unbroken. As the town of Millbrook continued its quiet existence, Emily Brown prepared herself for a journey that would change everything. She didn't know it yet, but her story of resilience was about to take an unexpected turn, a turn that would not just transform her life, but inspire an entire community. The struggle was real, the path uncertain. But Emily's spirit remained unbreakable, a beacon of hope in a world that often seemed determined to extinguish her light. The rain fell softly against the windows of Millbrook High School, creating a gentle rhythm that matched Emily's anxious heartbeat. Another ordinary day seemed to be unfolding until something extraordinary happened. A visitor arrived, Ms. Helen Roberts, a representative from the community college, carried with her a message of hope that would change everything. During the morning assembly, Ms. Roberts spoke about scholarship opportunities for students facing financial challenges. Her words were like a warm breeze of possibility, cutting through the cold reality of Emily's daily struggles. She explained how education could be a pathway out of poverty, her voice clear and encouraging. Emily sat in the back of the assembly hall, her fingers nervously twisting the edge of her worn notebook. The other students chatted and seemed distracted, but she listened to every single word. Each sentence felt like a lifeline being thrown to someone drowning in financial uncertainty. After the assembly, Emily gathered her courage and approached Ms. Roberts. Her hands were slightly shaking, but her eyes burned with determination. "Could you tell me more about the scholarship?" she asked, her voice steady despite her inner nervousness. Ms. Roberts saw something special in Emily. She recognized the hunger for education, the silent desperation to change her circumstances. She spent extra time explaining the application process, noting down details that could help Emily prepare her submission. That evening, Emily returned home with a packet of scholarship information. Her father, Tom, watched her with a mixture of hope and concern. They spread the documents across their small kitchen table, carefully reading every requirement, every potential opportunity. "It won't be easy," Tom said, his voice carrying both caution and support. "The competition will be tough." Emily understood the challenge. The scholarship wasn't just about academic performance. It required detailed essays, recommendation letters, and proof of financial need. Each requirement felt like a mountain to climb. She began preparing immediately. Late into the night, Emily would sit at the kitchen table writing and rewriting her application essays. She reflected on her life, the challenges, the loss of her mother, her father's struggle to find work. Her words became a powerful narrative of resilience and hope. Mr. Richards, her mathematics teacher, became an unexpected ally. He offered to review her application, providing guidance and encouragement. "You have something special," he would tell her. "Your story matters." The application process became a family effort. Tom helped gather necessary documents. Mrs. Miller from the bakery wrote a recommendation letter highlighting Emily's work ethic. Her school counselor provided additional support, understanding the potential this scholarship represented. Weeks of preparation felt like an emotional roller coaster. Some days Emily felt confident and excited. Other days, doubt would creep in, whispering that someone like her could never win such an opportunity. But she refused to let those thoughts consume her. The community seemed to take notice of her efforts. Neighbors who had previously only offered pitying glances now spoke words of encouragement. The local library became her second home, with librarians helping her research and prepare. Emily understood this was more than just a scholarship. It was a chance to change her family's future. Every late night, every carefully crafted paragraph represented hope, a hope that education could break the cycle of financial struggle. As the application deadline approached, Emily felt a mix of excitement and terror. The possibility of success was tantalizing, but the fear of rejection was equally powerful. She knew the odds were against her, but she had learned that giving up was never an option. Her father's support was unwavering. "Whatever happens," Tom would say, "I'm proud of you for trying." Those words meant everything to Emily. They represented love that transcended financial limitations. The day she finally submitted her application felt surreal. As the online submission went through, Emily closed her eyes and made a silent promise to herself, to her mother's memory, and to her father. This was more than just a scholarship. This was a chance to rewrite their story. Little did Emily know, her journey was about to take an unexpected turn. The glimmer of opportunity she saw was just the beginning of a transformative path that would challenge everything she thought she knew about her future. The waiting period after submitting the scholarship application felt like an eternity for Emily. Each passing day brought a mixture of hope and anxiety that seemed to fill every corner of their small Millbrook home. Her father, Tom, noticed how she would check the mailbox multiple times a day, her eyes searching for any sign of news. Life continued its challenging rhythm. Emily balanced her bakery job, school responsibilities, and helping her father with household expenses. The scholarship represented more than just educational opportunity. It was a potential escape from the constant financial pressure that had defined their lives. One particularly difficult week, Tom's health began to deteriorate. His occasional cough turned into something more serious. Medical bills started to pile up, threatening to crush the fragile hope Emily had been nurturing. She took on extra shifts at the bakery, her young body exhausted, but her spirit remained unbroken. Mrs. Miller, the bakery owner, watched Emily with growing concern. She saw the young girl's determination, the way she pushed through exhaustion and worry. "You're something special," she would tell Emily, slipping her extra hours or a warm meal when things seemed tough. The scholarship competition was intense. Emily learned that hundreds of students were applying, each with their own story of struggle and hope. She began to doubt herself, wondering if her small-town background could compete with students from more privileged backgrounds. Her school, Counselor Mr. Peterson, became an unexpected source of support. He helped her refine her application, pointing out the unique strength in her story. "Your journey is your greatest asset," he would remind her, helping her see her challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. Late one night, as Emily helped her father with his medication, she found herself making a promise. "I'll make things better," she whispered, her hand holding his trembling one. The weight of responsibility felt heavy, but her love was even stronger. The community began to take notice of Emily's struggles. Neighbors who had previously been distant started offering small helps: a bag of groceries, help with repair work, kind words of encouragement. Millbrook, despite its challenges, showed its true colors of compassion. School became both a refuge and a challenge. Emily's grades remained top-notch, but the pressure of her home situation made concentration difficult. She developed strategies, studying during lunch breaks, using every spare moment to read and prepare. Unexpected challenges continued to test her resolve. The scholarship committee required additional documentation, proof of financial need, recommendation letters, academic records. Each requirement felt like another mountain to climb. Tom's health became an additional worry. Medical expenses were draining their already limited resources. Emily found herself making tough choices, choosing between buying textbooks or medicine, between extra study materials or paying utility bills. Her mathematics teacher, Mr. Richards, recognized her potential. He began offering extra tutoring sessions, understanding the unique challenges Emily faced. "Oh, your mind is your greatest weapon," he would tell her, helping her see beyond their current circumstances. The scholarship deadline approached with increasing tension. Emily knew this was more than just an educational opportunity. It was a chance to change her family's entire future. She spent nights carefully preparing additional documents, her determination burning bright. Her mother's memory became a source of strength. The photograph on the mantelpiece seemed to watch over her, a silent reminder of the strength that ran in her family. Emily would often talk to the photograph, sharing her hopes and fears. As weeks passed, the waiting became a challenge of its own. Emily learned that hope was not just about waiting, but about continuing to move forward despite uncertainty. She continued working, studying, and supporting her father, refusing to let the possibility of rejection stop her. The community of Millbrook watched Emily's journey with a mixture of admiration and hope. She had become more than just a student, struggling for a scholarship. She was a symbol of resilience, of the power of determination. Little did Emily know, her greatest challenge was just beginning. The scholarship decision would soon arrive, bringing with it a moment that would change everything she had ever known. Her story was far from over. In fact, it was just about to begin its most exciting chapter. The morning arrived like any other, but something felt different. A crisp white envelope sat on the kitchen table, its official letterhead catching the early sunlight. Emily's hands trembled as she approached, her heart racing faster with each step. Tom watched from across the room, his weathered hands gripping his coffee mug. The silence was thick with anticipation. Years of struggle seemed to converge in this single moment of possibility. With careful fingers, Emily opened the envelope. Her eyes scanned the first line, then the second. Suddenly, the world around her seemed to stop. A full scholarship, every single penny covered. Tears began to fall, not of sadness, but of pure, unbridled hope. "Dad," she whispered, her voice breaking. "We did it." Tom approached, reading the letter himself. His hands shook, a mixture of pride and disbelief washing over him. The Brown family had always been fighters, but this felt like more than just a victory. This was redemption. News traveled quickly in Millbrook. Mrs. Miller from the bakery was the first to hear. She closed the bakery early that day, bringing a celebratory cake to the Brown household. The small community gathered, sharing in Emily's joy. The scholarship wasn't just financial support, it was a complete package: tuition, books, living expenses. For the first time in years, Emily could see a path forward that didn't involve constant struggle. She could pursue her dreams without the weight of financial burden. Mr. Richards, her mathematics teacher, arrived with tears in his eyes. "I always knew you were special," he told Emily, his voice filled with pride. He had seen potential in her when others saw only struggle. The local newspaper wanted to do a story. Emily's journey from a struggling family to a scholarship winner became a beacon of hope for other students in similar situations. Her photograph appeared on the front page, a symbol of resilience. Tom's health began to improve. The financial pressure lifting meant better medical care, better nutrition. The transformation was gradual but unmistakable. Hope has a way of healing that medicine sometimes cannot. Emily's first decision was to help her father. She arranged for better medical treatment, ensured he had everything he needed. The role reversal was not lost on either of them, the daughter now becoming the provider, the protector. The community center organized a small celebration. Local business owners, teachers, and neighbors came together to congratulate Emily. They saw in her a representation of what was possible when determination met opportunity. Late one evening, Emily found her mother's old photograph. Holding it close, she made a silent promise. "I'll make you proud," she whispered, feeling a connection that transcended loss and pain. Her scholarship was to study business management, a field she hoped would help her not just improve her own life, but create opportunities for others facing similar challenges. She saw education as a tool for transformation. The bakery where she had worked became her first lesson in real-world experience. Mrs. Miller, who had been more than an employer, became a mentor. She shared business insights, life lessons that went beyond any classroom teaching. Tom watched his daughter's transformation with a mixture of pride and wonder. The little girl who had helped him through his darkest moments was now becoming a woman who would change their family's entire trajectory. Millbrook, a town that had known more struggle than success, began to see itself differently. Emily's story became a narrative of hope, a reminder that circumstances do not define destiny. The scholarship was more than a piece of paper. It was a key to a world of possibilities. It represented every late night of studying, every extra shift. At the bakery, every moment of doubt overcome. As the first day of college approached, Emily packed her bags. The same hands that had once worried about paying utility bills were now preparing for an educational journey. Her suitcase was filled with more than clothes. It carried the hopes of an entire family, an entire community. Tom hugged her tight, his voice breaking. "Your mother would be so proud," he said, tears mixing with a smile of pure joy. Emily's journey was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. But for the first time in years, the future looked bright, promising, full of endless possibilities. The college campus stretched before Emily like a world of endless possibilities. Her first day felt like stepping into a dream she had only imagined during those difficult nights in Millbrook. Everything was different. The buildings, the people, the sense of potential that hung in the air. Her first semester was a journey of discovery. Emily discovered she was more than just a survivor. She was a learner, a thinker, a future leader. Her business management classes opened her eyes to strategies of success that went beyond financial survival. Tom's health continued to improve. The reduced financial stress worked like medicine, bringing color back to his cheeks and hope back to his eyes. He followed Emily's progress through weekly phone calls, his pride evident in every conversation. Mrs. Miller from the bakery became her unexpected mentor. She would send care packages filled with local treats and words of encouragement. "You're carrying the hopes of Millbrook," she would write in her letters, reminding Emily of her roots. During summer breaks, Emily returned home with a mission. She started a small community support program, helping families facing similar challenges. Her personal experience became a powerful tool for understanding and supporting others. The local community center became her first testing ground. She developed workshops teaching financial literacy, sharing the strategies she had learned in college. Young students from struggling families found hope in her story, seeing a living example of transformation. Her professors recognized something special in Emily. Her assignments weren't just academic exercises. They were passionate explorations of how business could create social change. She wasn't just studying management. She was reimagining community support. One particular project caught significant attention. Emily developed a comprehensive plan for supporting small businesses in economically challenged areas. Her approach combined academic knowledge with real-world understanding of community needs. The university noticed her potential. She was offered internship opportunities with organizations focused on community development. Each opportunity felt like another step towards her larger dream of creating meaningful change. Tom watched his daughter's journey with increasing wonder. The girl who once worried about paying utility bills was now presenting research at community conferences. His health improved alongside her success. Their lives intertwined in hope. Millbrook itself began to change. Emily's success inspired other young people to see education as a pathway forward. The town that had once felt defeated now buzzed with renewed energy and possibility. Her relationships expanded beyond her immediate community. She connected with other scholarship recipients, sharing experiences and building a network of support. Each connection felt like another thread in a larger tapestry of hope. By her final year of college, Emily had transformed from a struggling teenager to a community leader. Her scholarship was no longer just a personal achievement, but a platform for broader change. The local newspaper that had once celebrated her initial scholarship now featured her community work. She became a symbol of what was possible when opportunity met determination. Her mother's photograph, which had always watched over their home, seemed to smile with a different kind of pride. Emily was living the promise of a better future that her mother had always believed in. Tom's greatest joy came from seeing his daughter's impact. "You've done more than succeed," he would tell her. "You've shown others how to dream." Emily's story became more than individual success. It became a blueprint for community transformation. She showed that education was not just about personal achievement, but about creating broader opportunities. As graduation approached, Emily reflected on her journey. The scared teenager from Millbrook was now a confident young professional with a vision. Her struggles had become her strength, her challenges her greatest teachers. The promise of tomorrow was no longer an abstract concept. It was real, tangible, something she was actively creating, not just for herself, but for her community, her family and every young person who felt trapped by circumstances. Her story proved a simple but powerful truth. Hope is not something that happens to you. It's something you create, one courageous step at a time. As the sun set on her final college day, Emily knew her journey was just beginning. The promise of tomorrow was bright, full of potential, waiting to be explored.